Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience and their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.
Welcome to the New Year's edition of the Speak English with a British Accent podcast. Happy New Year. And if this is your year to perfect your RP British accent speaking voice, do sign up to my British accent bundle and take your accent to the next level. learningbritishaccent.com/bundle is the place to start. So like last week, this is a compilation episode of nursery rhymes, news articles, vocab and a fairy tale. Please enjoy. Section 1. Baa baa black sheep. Baa baa black sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. 1 for the master and 1 for the dame, and 1 for the little boy who lives down the lane. Hickory dickory dock. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock struck 1, the mouse was gone. Hickory dickory dock. Section 2. Landscapes vocab. Hill, hill. Mountain, mountain. Valley, valley. Flat, flat. Desert, desert. Rainforest, rainforest. Frozen, frozen. Wasteland, wasteland. Bog, bog. Marshland, marshland. City vocab. Bridge, bridge. Corner, corner. Crossing, crossing. Fountain, fountain. Market, market. Park, park. Pavement, pavement. Road, road. Roundabout, roundabout. Signpost, signpost. Subway, subway. Underground, underground. Section 3. Witch Talk. The witchcraft videos with billions of views. Written by Claire Jones. When you think of TikTok, dance challenges, comedy creations, and the latest earworms probably spring to mind. But one of the latest trends is focus more on spells, potions, and prophecies. Witchcraft. Videos with the hashtag WitchTalk have amassed more than 30 billion views and has made it easier for would-be witches to learn about it. Creators say it's bringing the community closer than ever before. TikTok's witch hashtag has received nearly 20 billion views. Hashtag witch TikTok has nearly 2 billion views. And hashtag baby witch, a hashtag for those new to the craft, has more than 600 million views. Isla Skinner, known as Witch in the Wilderness on TikTok, lives in Cornwall and has amassed followers by performing what she describes as spells and magic. She says it makes her feel empowered. Witchcraft, paganism, it all gives you a bit of control back. You can live your life how you want. I live my life magically. I do magic every day. It gives people a real sense of individuality and the power to do things themselves, she says. Isla believes TikTok has enabled people of all ages and from around the world to be part of the witchcraft community. Witchcraft years ago, you had to find a coven, get initiated and trained. Now you can go to your local bookstore and grab a witchcraft book or book about crystals, she says. TikTok has changed the way we practice witchcraft. It's so acceptable now to learn from social media. WitchTok content includes live streaming tutorials, educational videos, and documenting the day-to-day lives of witches. Frankie Castanea is from the USA and identifies as a gender-fluid Italian-American folk witch. Frankie has 1.4 million followers through their Chaotic Witch Aunt TikTok page and has amassed more than 90 million likes through sharing content about witchcraft. The 24-year-old said witchcraft in different cultures has different connotations. Witchcraft is not a religion, it's a belief, it's a spiritual practice. The term witch is one people elect to use themselves. It's so broad and encompasses so many traditions. Witchcraft can have connotations of the dark arts, but Isla believes magic can be quite misunderstood. Hollywood and Disney have created this very dark, very evil character, which isn't necessarily true, she said. Professor Diane Purkis from the University of Oxford is the author of A Witch in History. She's examined the scepticism surrounding witchcraft, which she calls one of the oldest human societies. There are witches in classical times, in Greek and Roman literature, she says. Historically, witchcraft was viewed as an explanation of sudden and unexpected ill fortune, such as the death of a child or a bad harvest. Dr. Isaac Nijhuis, senior lecturer at Brunel University, London, specialises in African witchcraft and says it's a form many people around the world still believe to be true. In Europe, witchcraft is seen more as the use of magical powers for any kind of purpose, largely for healing, he says, whereas in Africa, envious and jealous people use witchcraft in the purpose of harm. In Africa, no one would own up to being a witch. The practice of witchcraft is secret and operated at night in hidden locations. Their identity is always concealed, he said. But Isla believes the growing popularity of witchcraft is here to stay. Just like nature has light and dark, so does witchcraft. And it's how you choose to use the light and the dark, she adds. Section 4. The Little Match Girl. It was so terribly cold. Snow was falling, and it was almost dark. Evening came on, the last evening of the year. In the cold and gloom, a poor little girl, bareheaded and barefoot, was walking through the streets. Of course, when she had left her house, she had slippers on, but what good had they been? They were very big slippers, way too big for her, for they belonged to her mother. The little girl had lost them running across the road, where 2 carriages had rattled by terribly fast. One slipper she'd not been able to find again, and a boy had run off with the other, saying he could use it very well as a cradle some day when he had children of his own. And so the little girl walked on her naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold. In an old apron she carried several packages of matches, and she held a box of them in her hand. No one had bought any from her all day long, and no one had given her a cent. Shivering with cold and hunger, she crept along, a picture of misery. Poor little girl. The snowflakes fell on her long fair hair, which hung in pretty curls over her neck. In all the windows lights were shining, and there was a wonderful smell of roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve. Yes, she thought of that. In a corner formed by 2 houses, one of which projected further out into the street than the other, she sat down and drew up her little feet under her. She was getting colder and colder, but did not dare to go home, for she had sold no matches nor earned a single cent, and her father would surely beat her. Besides, it was cold at home, for they had nothing over them but a roof through which the wind whistled, even though the biggest cracks had been stuffed with straw and rags. Her hands were almost dead with cold. Oh, how much one little match might warm her! If she could only take one from the box and rub it against the wall and warm her hands. She drew one out. Ratch! How it sputtered and burned. It made a warm, bright flame like a little candle as she held her hands over it. But it gave a strange light. It really seemed to the little girl as if she was sitting before a great iron stove with shining brass knobs and a brass cover. How wonderfully the fire burned! How comfortable it was! Well, thanks once again for listening and for all your support throughout the last year. I hope 2025 brings you everything you desire, starting with a great British accent. So I'll see you here next week. And in the meantime, head over to learningbritishaccent.com/bundle to start your training journey. Okay, see you next week. Bye for now.